Hello, I'm Gabby Moreau. Thank you for watching this edition of the Central Valley Report. Congressman Josh Harder holds several community meetings throughout the county. We'll have that story and more coming up right after a quick break.
You knew the risks when you decided to drive drunk. There could be a crash. People could get hurt or killed. You could get arrested. But one thing's for sure, you were wrong when you said it was no big deal.
A disabled man died from injuries sustained during a fire at his trailer home in Empire on January 7th, authorities say. The fire broke out shortly before 8:30 a.m. at the Bracewood Mobile Home Park on Santa Fe Avenue. Firefighters encountered heavy fire conditions as they attempted to save the man's life.
Had heavy fire coming from three sides of the building. We initially went into an offensive mode because we were told by nearby residents that there was a potential victim. So we immediately started knocking down the fire, and one of our next-in companies started assisting with search. And that's when we found the victim. The ambulance company was here at the same time we found the victim, so he was immediately transported.
Coroner's officials identified the man as 75-year-old Leslie Johnson. The fire is suspected to have started on the kitchen stove. Elsewhere, the man accused of killing a 14-year-old Turlock girl while driving under the influence appeared in court. 21-year-old Kevin Hernandez Solis did not enter a plea before a judge on January 16th. Another hearing was scheduled for January 30th. The 21-year-old man is charged with the death of 14-year-old Frieda Pineda, who died in the crash on December 14th on Monte Vista Avenue in Turlock. Two other occupants of the car she was in suffered serious injuries. The 14-year-old was a student at Dutcher Middle School. In Modesto, two students were arrested by police after they were found with a firearm. Officers responded to BEYER High School at about 1 o'clock after police received reports of a student on campus with a gun. Police quickly detained and arrested both involved students. Officers were able to recover the gun and said that no threats were made to students or staff, and there were no injuries reported during the incident. Coming up after the break, police in Stockton tracked down a man wanted in connection to a carjacking and kidnapping, and the new congressman holds his first town hall meetings.
You're not in good hands with the big insurance company. But after 30 years of being like a good neighbor to the Central Valley, the law office of Mark Nelson is a rock in the community that fights for those who cannot fight for themselves. Mark Nelson is on your side.
A local law firm that fights the insurance company bullies. That's as progressive as it gets.
Go to marknelsonlawoffices.com for a free consultation.
A wanted 22-year-old man was shot by police after they tracked him down to a home in Western Branch Thursday afternoon. Police say the suspect, identified as Antonio Cornejo, was a parolee at large and wanted in connection to a kidnapping and carjacking case in San Jose.
When officers went to go make contact at the residence, the suspect ran out the back, and once he saw officers, he went back inside the residence and ran upstairs. At which point our officers saw that there were several people inside the home, and for their safety, they called those people out, and once they were done doing that, the suspect then appeared and confronted officers with a handgun, at which point one Stockton police officer and one CDCR officer fired their weapons, striking the suspect, and the suspect was then transported to an area hospital. Anytime you have a felon who's a parolee at large and you're going to go to a house and try to apprehend that person, obviously the goal here is to do it where everybody is safe. And in this situation, unfortunately, the suspect armed himself with a handgun and confronted officers. So at that point, the officers have to make a split-second decision because they're fearing for their safety and also the safety of the other people that were outside the residence. So they had to make that decision and fire their weapons, which ultimately struck the suspect. And right now that suspect is at an area hospital in critical condition.
Congressman Josh Harder held his first town hall meetings over the weekend discussing several topics with members of the community.
So what have I been hearing from folks so far? I've been hearing a couple different things. One is a real sense of optimism and excitement about what this moment means for the future of the valley. I think one of the most exciting things that I've observed is that 100,000 people voted on November 6th who didn't vote 4 years before. And look, whether you voted for me or whether you're not, I think we all agree it's an amazing moment for the political fabric of the Central Valley when more people are feeling like their voice needs to be heard. And I think my goal is to make sure that that continues. And I think the history of the Central Valley is it's not about Republican Party politics or Democratic Party politics, it's about a politics that works for all of us. A pragmatic sense that we need to make government work for people in need. That's what I campaigned on, and I think that's what this moment can become. That's one thing that I've heard, and it's been really encouraging to hear that. I've also heard about some of the challenges that we've been feeling. One of the challenges I know I felt and really heard is from folks in this community that have been shaken by some of our law enforcement deaths over the past few weeks. The death of Corporal Ron Singh in Newman, and the death of Natalie Corona up in Davis, 2 Central Valley law enforcement officers. And I know I've heard from many people, and I've talked to many people about what this moment means for the safety and security of our community, and how we can make sure that we're keeping our community safe. And I think it reminds us more than ever how important our law enforcement officers are, and how grateful we are for the sacrifices that they make in the line of duty.
We'll be right back to take a look at weather.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for this week, we should expect highs in the low to mid 60s. Overnight lows will be in the 40s. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Central Valley Report. For more news and updates, be sure to visit our website at centralvalleytv.net. You can also follow us on social media and watch our channel on Roku and Amazon Fire TV.